Summary. The novel is based on real-life events that happened during World War II. The main character of the novel, which was a Jew, narrates how the Jews survived during the Holocaust. The Diary of Anne Frank is an account of a young girl's experience. The diary narrates the ordeal of a young girl who started to observe and experience real-life issues after her 13th birthday. In her diary, Anne Frank narrates her life journey from Germany to the Netherlands during the Second World War. And narrates how her family was forced into exile and into hiding. From the novel, Anne records the experience of growing up in exile and in loneliness. It is during her time in exile that Anne becomes aware of love and affection. And becomes too observant of what is happening to her, making her judgmental of other people. And struggles with thoughts of being a member of a persecuted community in Europe. She feels confined and deprived of important things in life. Anne's disillusionment about life is evidenced when she starts to feel isolated from her family and community members. The character feels confused about things to happen after the end of the Second World War. Perhaps, this is the reason that prompts her to change and edit her diary for future reference in history. Literary analysis. Theme. From the novel, a theme of loneliness, especially in adolescence, is evidenced. Loneliness. Perhaps the reason for Anne writing the diary has been prompted by loneliness. Rarely would a young girl dedicate most of her time writing and observing events for a diary. For young girls of her age, they would indulge in playing with other youths around the neighborhood. However, such could not have been possible with the ongoing anti-Semitic attitude that existed by that time. Although Anne recounts most of her experiences with family and friends, she still views her diary as her closest confidant. Perhaps, this can be considered ironic from a girl who starts her journey of the adolescent as vibrant and social amongst her peers. Nonetheless, Anne is quick to point out that she does not see it necessary to discuss emotional matters with friends. She is not comfortable discussing matters that provoke her innermost emotions. According to Anne, her family and friends only discuss war matters or trivial issues. In trying to assert her loneliness as a young girl, Anne reckons that her father is a good man, but too old to confide. At one point, Anne reckons that deep down, the young are lonelier than the old. This can be edified by the fact that unlike the young ones, adults can understand and express their experiences. Considering that Anne is a Jew, the feeling of isolation and deprivation in an anti-Semitic society makes her vulnerable to loneliness. Such deprivation in such kind of a society is likely to make a young girl strive for recognition and identity. In this respect, Anne tries to seek solace in finding affection from a young man called Peter Van Dawn. And can tell from Pierre's activities that she is not only the lonely one. Just like Anne, Peter is a lonely young man and finds affection from playing with cats. Another young character in the novel who exhibits loneliness is Margot. Margot is a young girl who has no friends and feels deprived of affection. In the annex where Anne's family and other friends live, it is clear that hiding from war has resulted in loneliness. Everyone, especially adolescents, is engulfed in their thoughts and troubles. The adolescents seem to burden themselves with the troubles of the adults. Instead of the adults taking charge of reassuring the young ones on things to happen in the future, they disapprove any thoughts harbored by the adolescents. Everyone in the annex is lonely and anxious about the prevailing circumstances. Eventually, it seems that no one wants to trouble another for fear of disapproval. Historical evaluation. The events narrated by Anne in her diary probably happened during the Holocaust. It is important to note that the dates indicated in Anne's diary fall under the period of the Second World War. The diary passes as an actual record of a person who truly lived in that very period. The deportation of the Dutch Jews took place on 20th June of the year 1942. This is a clear indication that the content of Anne's diary is correct and happened at a particular time. The Holocaust cannot be erased in history. The actual happenings that included murder, isolation, and incarceration at concentration camps are real events captured in Anne's diary. In fact, images of concentration camps arced through Anne's